another inspiring episode of Voice of Dreams, proudly presented by Cyber Kings India. This is Swati Sabu, social media influencer and content creator from Cyber Kings India. Today, I have the privilege of introducing a remarkable individual, someone whose leadership, vision, and commitment to excellence are reshaping the business landscape. It's my honor to welcome Mr. Dinkar Rao, the Managing Director at Groval Eulers Consulting, founder of Groval Selectia and Kabi Learning Foundation. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Swati, and the team of Cyber Kings. It's my privilege and pleasure to.
Welcome again, sir. So,
Yeah.
sir, you have built three distinct ventures under the Groval Group umbrella: Groval Eulers, Groval Selectia, and Kabi Learning Foundation. Now, I'm curious to know, how has your leadership style influenced the distinct identity and direction of each one?
All right. So before I talk about my leadership style, I think I'll tell you the crux of the three entities, which is, see,
Sure,
primarily
sir.
Groval Oilers works on the sales capability, building the sales capability across the organization.
Yeah.
And when you're building the sales capabilities of the people, you require support from the top management and board. That's primary. And we don't just talk about training and coaching programs, but we do change management when it comes to building sales capabilities. So, in a particular context, how do we build the capabilities? And the context is quite important here, when we're developing people, because ultimately people have to deliver for now and future. So that's about Groval Oilers, and Groval Selectia works on cross-functional future readiness, which means that, well, while you're working in on the sales and service capabilities, it's important that cross-functionally the organization gets aligned. What I mean by cross-functional capability development is, let's say you're talking about a manufacturing company. It's important for not only the sales and service departments to be future ready, but the HR, finance, procurement, stores, purchase, all have to get aligned to build the future readiness. So it's like the whole nervous system gets future ready. That's Groval Selectia, which is beyond sales. And Kabir works on the core of the business, which is the soul of the business. So the three entities actually, if I give you an analogy, probably Groval Oilers works on the blood circulation. Groval Selectia works on the nervous system, starting from brain. And Kabir is the heart and soul of the business, which means, are we doing what we're supposed to do? Are we doing what we were born for? And how do we become soulful in our leadership? Now I'll come to the question which you had asked, that, how it has affected my way of working as a leader. See, primarily a leader has to balance all the three. He has to balance the pragmatic aspect of your profession, which is, do we have, enough work to do? That's important for a leader to think. Do we have enough work for our people? Do we have enough work for our ecosystem? So from there, I think my leadership style is always about figuring out how to make people meaningfully busy. They should have enough
Yeah.
work to do, and that's how my leadership style also got influenced. And when I talk about cross-functional readiness, I think it has helped me to become a little bit more holistic, uh, not looking at only the departments or organized faculties of the organization, which are always customer facing, but there are many people who are working like the bearings in a wheel. You see, it's not visible, but they're working. So
Yes, sir.
that has made me possibly a little bit more inclusive. And Kabir has definitely inspired me to think what can build a greater level of connect with people. What is that which touches people? That's where Kabir is working. So when you're working, and you might have seen, Swati, all these are people enablement organizations. And so when you're
Yes.
working on a profession of people enablement, you also need to practice what you're trying to kind of see change in others. You can't say this is the change I want in others, but you need to also work on yourself. So I think a lot of pressure also comes on person who is working on himself when they are a part of a project. And I think that's where I am right now in terms of my leadership journey. And leadership, I primarily think it's a behavior, not a position. Not because I founded a company, I'm a leader, but it's a behavior of taking initiative, working for a community. And when
Yes.
you're doing a business, it's a or a practice, it's basically for a community. I
I
think so.
agree. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that's truly inspiring, sir. So, and looking at how rapidly the business world is changing, which of these three ventures do you see as the biggest game changer in the next 5 years, sir?
I think all have their role and all
Yeah.
talk to each other.
Yes, yes. All
For
the three.
example, yeah. Business cannot exist with mathematics and numbers.
Yeah.
So Groval Euler is all about the business, the math side of the business, and also the values. So the name also stands for, grow with values, and Euler's for the mathematician. So there is a lot of mathematical element in business. For example, predictability. If you miss the predictability in your business, I think your stakeholders won't be happy.
Yes.
So that is very much timeless. If you see, as long as businesses exist, there will be a kind of a necessity to understand the numbers behind the business, how to make things happen, how to make things predictable. That's where Grovel Oilers works. If you look at Grovel Selectia, as long as there is a business, even if it is a small company, 5 people, 10 people to 5,000 people, there will be a cross-functional team involved,
Yes, sir.
and people have to be very, very collaborative with each other to
Absolutely.
success. So I think it, I see a great need for deep levels of collaboration in our society, and businesses. So it's timeless that way. The
Uh,
concept is timeless. And
yes.
Kabir talks about, today we talk about mindfulness. Today we also talk about wellness. But unless a leader is able to see people beyond numbers, it's difficult to achieve success in a consistent manner. And possibly when we look at success, we look at outwardly success, which is your balance sheet. But a lot happens when you're working with people beyond balance sheet.
Yes.
And I think that is also an element which is timeless. I think it has existed even pre-industrial revolution era. So I think things that we try to do in Kabir Learning Foundation are timeless in true sense, because possibly most of the concepts might have existed even before the industrial revolution, and they continue to exist even in the AI world. So since we are talking about the soul of the whole business, soul of the leadership, I think these elements contribute and will continue to contribute for the
Yes.
days to come. Yeah,
As I understand, I think all the three entities work hand in hand for the.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, you have worked extensively with Indian MNCs, Southeast Asian firms, and global giants. So, from your experience, what are some of the common challenges that you have observed across these geographies when it comes to sales enablement and cross functional leadership?
See, I think more than challenges, there are differences. I would put it that way.
Okay,
Uh,
sir.
the differences happen because of the size of the organizations, the culture of the organizations, and sometimes the culture gets affected by where you're operating from. So the nothing to do with uh, I would say geography, but more related to the culture of the organizations and the way they have been led and the size. And each
Uh,
size of will bring its complexity. So if you're working with smaller organizations, the advantage is that the decisions are faster, and people move faster, and you can see the changes quickly happening, less bureaucracy, and you have the face time of the top management, which makes things easy. Now, this
yes.
advantage remains whether you're working for an Indian company or whether you're working for an American or European company. The size of the organization permits face time with the people who drive the strategies and kind of board members. But when you look at, say, organizations which are conglomerates, you have very limited face time with the top management, and I would say
Yes.
board and top management is still accessible. Uh, so so the time required to bring changes, although the infrastructure is very good, might be affected by a lot of factors which are sometimes emerging from the size of the organization. So
Yes, sir.
and while we can say sometimes, even though the size of the organization is big, the culturally, if the organization has very high agility, the size doesn't matter. So it's very difficult to say what what is challenging and what is an opportunity, because everything is a challenge, everything is an opportunity. It's basically what are you facing at that point of time. And I would also say sometimes even in smaller organization, if the culture is to move slowly, then they
Yeah.
might behave like conglomerates who have a lot of bureaucracy in place. So it's sometimes I feel that it's more about the culture of the organization than anything else.
That's so good.
The culture of the organization will have different tendencies, a tendency to move a little fast, tendency to be slow, tendency to be consistent, tendency to be inconsistent. So based on that, largely um, our objectives get governed, and it's important for you to also possibly understand this very clearly, that we are change enablers. Whether you talk about sales, cross-functional leadership, purposefulness through Kabir, we want to build change. And when companies come to us, it's not that they're not capable of building change. They want a neutral voice to create a sense of urgency, objectivity, processes. So that's where we work with. So most of our outcomes get affected by the culture of the organization.
Yes, 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 sir.
And it doesn't depend on which country we are working with.
Yeah, yeah,
So there is
absolutely.
some element of cultural nuance here and there, but
Yes,
people are quite
but
similar
basically the
nowadays.
company.
Yeah, and people are quite similar nowadays in the way they are wired. So yeah, we can see that cultural influence a little bit here and there, but that's not a big problem. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And considering how different these business environments can be, how do you customize your framework to cater to such varied business ecosystem? Like it's varied across different
We have to
environments.
spend a lot of time in understanding what are their situations, why those situations exist, what
Yeah.
is the change they want to bring, why they want to bring that change, how do they measure the changes. So, there are a lot of elements to it. So
Yes,
whether
sir.
you're talking about sales, cross-functional leadership, purposefulness, unity in the teams, coming on the same page when you're running the business, managing conflicts. So all these things you have to study, observe,
Yes,
spend a lot of time talking to people in the system. Okay, good thing you have asked is how do you customize? I think we do that by not only getting the inputs from the board, but we also talk to all the stakeholders down the line,
yes,
and
sir.
who are who are involved in day-to-day operations, and get their point of view and make things very inclusive.
Yeah,
You know,
that's very
that's what
important.
yeah.
Yes, sir. And moving on, in your opinion, how crucial is emotional connection with employees and customers during tough times, and how it can be practically built, sir?
Tough question. The second one is tough. The first one is easier.
Yeah.
Emotional connect is the soul of business, whichever
Yes.
business you're into. How to build it depends on the interest of the buyer, person who is buying the idea
Yeah.
of making connect. So connect can be built as long as you have intent. So
Yes,
the
sir.
question is, how do we understand the intent to build a connect? And that's where we work. We understand what are the blockers for building connect, what are enablers for building connect, and is there a enthusiasm and excitement in people to build a connect? And people are different. We cannot come out with a um, kind of a diktat that you need to build emotional connect. But I think everybody will have a different way to build that connect.
Yes,
So
sir.
possibly we need to understand how people want to build that connect. So
Yes.
without connect, whatever be the connect, it's very impossible to lead the organization. So in either ways, if you're a management trainee also, you're working with your seniors from the day one of your employment, you need to have connected, and you are also leading in some way or the other the
Yes, sir.
whole idea of doing a business. Same thing is true for managers, leaders, CEOs, board. And connect is the best way to improve the speed of execution.
Yes,
So
sir.
if I give a business benefit of connect, I would say if connect is better, things get implemented faster, quicker,
Yes.
and the debates are also meaningful. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, could you share an example where prioritizing values over quick wins paid off for your client or Groval Group itself, sir?
Yeah. So, coaching is a relationship primarily, and, you know,
Yeah.
uh, prioritizing on values is critical because, every organization will have some defined values.
Yes, sir.
And I can give an example of a company where it's a micro enterprise, micro enterprise are very small enterprises. I don't want to take example of large enterprises because their people definitely are very, very vocal about, at least about the intent to practice some values. But when you working with a small enterprise, they might not use these terminologies, but they have values in place.
Yes.
So in one of the companies where possibly I was judgmental when I had my first meeting, and I thought that this company doesn't have any value system. Possibly it's all chaotic,
Yeah.
and my engagements are a long term. So I thought that this engagement I don't think will go beyond a month.
Yeah.
But when I started spending time with this board and the gentleman, especially with whom I'm working, young person, uh, coming with a very solid business background, I could find the beauty of the way he's practicing business and the kind of values they have defined. And we all talk about empathy. I saw him practicing empathy without talking about it.
Yeah. Nice. Really
You
nice.
know, and in this kind of meeting room, he just opened up and said, I want my people to be, happy. I want my people to be enjoying the job. And so whatever Dinkar we are trying to create, let's, create it together with people and see what is happening. So that was one big revelation to me that sometimes people outwardly look very different and they may not use the terminologies and the buzzwords which we are accustomed, kind of here, but they are practicing certain values in reality. So the learning for people like us is to understand the hidden values,
Yeah.
not just the values which are spoken, but the hidden values of the organization. And primarily they are top down. The values are, you start from the top and they percolate, and you will see everyone in the organization somewhere trying to align to that in different
Yes, sir.
degrees. And the another value system which I saw in them was straightforwardness. They don't like to mince with words. So, and then, I had to travel quite a lot to meet the gentleman. It was somewhere in the northern India, so beyond Delhi. So, every month I have to go there, meet people. So I could see a kind of a family kind of a value system in everybody.
Yes, sir.
And that is not possible unless the top man is not practicing it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So I think prioritizing on values is critical when you're working as a chain management professional or a coach or a trainer or enabler, whatever you call. You need to understand what is the culture of the organization and not just go by the words. Is
Yes,
the
sir.
mantra. Go by what you're observing, not observing, and what you are actually able to see in the whole ecosystem. And once you focus on that, get it right, I think then everything is very, very easy for you to build. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's
Hope I could give
truly.
some idea about the example. Yeah. This is what you wanted to know, Swati? Uh,
Yes, sir. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's truly remarkable to hear such things, sir.
Yeah.
So, for entrepreneurs and business leaders watching this interview, what's your one advice on balancing short-term business goals with long-term value-driven growth, sir?
While I would most of the times I wouldn't use the word advice here. I would just say suggestion, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
important for them to reflect on that. My suggestion would be that while short term is critical, there's no doubt about it. So I would not come with a school of thought which says that look at only long term. I would say especially this enterprises which are burning cash, and you need to look at short-term success very clearly.
Okay, sir.
And you also need to look at how that short term is like an episode to the long term. So both are
Okay.
not different.
Yeah.
It's like a seamless compartment.
Okay.
So I would suggest everyone to look at both as important.
Yes,
Only
sir.
thing, only difference is that when you're working in a short-term race, uh, we might ignore some things which are important for long term.
Okay,
And
sir.
that is where we have to be careful. For example, if you're driving some of the outcomes too hard to get quick business, and
Yes.
you getting good pipeline of business and you're doing business, and if you are not servicing them well, I think you're eroding your customer base faster than the
Yeah.
acquisition. So
Yes,
my
sir.
request to the entrepreneurs would be, while you're focusing on short-term wins, which is very, very critical for the cash flow of the organization, please have short-term plus long-term view on building customer centricity, servicing your clients, retaining relationships, and it's not easy to retain
Yes, sir.
that. I'm not saying that you should always aim to get repeat business. That's not the only objective. If it
Yeah.
is happening, which is well and good, but if you have supplied, let's say, uh, a good product, which is required hardly in once in 3 years, the person should remember you. Like in most of the capital equipment sales, you supply
Yes.
something which might have a lifetime of 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
But if you're
Yeah.
not having the right kind of service enablement of the team, you'll probably create wrong memories in the minds of the buyer. Same thing
Yeah.
happens in SaaS, that you're possibly pumping a lot of energy to acquire customers, but are we really delivering what we have promised?
Yes.
That's where the long-term view comes, and you
Yeah.
have to make certain sacrifices for that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So,
And that's a brilliant
so
takeaway, sir. So,
that
throughout your journey from early days in industrial selling to leading three successful ventures, what life lessons motivate you to move forward, sir?
creating the talent pool of willing people,
Yeah.
which means that if I'm personally very happy when I see sincere people getting job and getting promoted.
Yeah.
So if you ask me what gives me happiness end of the day when I'm having my dinner, is remembering those people whom possibly I was a sounding board in selection process, and also was a kind of a sounding board to create certain processes, mindset, systems, thought processes also, to see that they are growing. And if they get promoted in the organization in terms of responsibility and designation, that's what gives satisfaction. So if I have to answer your question, what keeps me going is to
Yeah.
see that year on year you're creating those catalysts who are successful. And you meet the MD of the organization, he says, Dinkar, what you said last 2 years back is really working us for us.
Yeah.
And recently it happened with one of the gentlemen, very brilliant person with whom I'm working. Uh, he's from Mumbai, and very brilliant person. And he told me very, very openly one day morning, we had this conversation. He said that couple of ideas which worked very well was this and this. And he gave examples of how it helped, in the third year of operation. This also answers your previous question, So he told me what worked well in the first 2 years and how they're enjoying the benefits in the third year, and what should be
Yes.
the next step. So when such things come from people and with very authentic people,
Okay.
it gives a lot of satisfaction, and it gives
Yes.
more energy to work harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So,
for me, life, they say no work-life balance. I think it's all about balance, and life is only one thing. Balance is also one thing. So you will figure out your way,
yeah.
whether what is enjoyment and what is work. Because both are so similar.
Yes.
So that's something which I feel, and that keeps me going.
Yes, sir.
Suddenly switching from doing something very reading something to enjoying music, uh, or watching something or reading something. Yeah. So
Yes.
all such things, maybe a variety of hobbies also helps me to keep the journey very exciting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interest and hobbies. Yeah.
That's great, sir. So,
Uh,
Mr. Dinkar Rao, your leadership and commitment to innovation are truly commendable. And it's been an absolute privilege to hear about your journey and the incredible work you're doing, sir. And I'm sure our audience has found this conversation both inspiring and enlightening. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati, and your team for this innovative exercise of reaching out to people and asking them what they want to do for building innovation. I believe I could give you some pointers, and we are always open and would be more than willing to help entrepreneurs from time to time.
And to all our viewers, if you would like to explore more about Mr. Dinkar Rao and his ventures, don't forget to check out the links provided in the description. Stay connected with us for more exclusive conversation with pioneers, leaders, and changemakers who are shaping the future. Until then, this is Swati Sabu signing off from another episode of Cyber Kings India's Voice of Dreams. See you soon.